Thank you very much.
Sivadoba, Yogabit, Srivasanga, Chaitanya Mat, Murari Gupta.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees, please accept our humble obeisances. All glories to Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada. All glories to Gurudev, all glories to assembled Vaishnava devotees, and all glories to His Holiness Kavicandra Swami Maharaja Ki Jai. Devotees, we are very much blessed. We have His Holiness Kavicandra Swami Maharaj with us today. And we want to draw devotees' attention to this fact that Maharaj just got to India. He was in the air. He just got to India a few hours ago.
No, I've been in India for 3 or 4 weeks. I just flew from Bombay to Mayapur.
Oh, from Bombay to Mayapur. Thanks for the correction.
And I just
late.
got into the room here like 15 minutes ago.
Yeah. So it's quite late for Maharaj. It's about 10 o'clock night.
Yeah,
So
let's get started.
We'll try to make it as brief as possible so that Maharaj can take rest. So Maharaj, we may put the verse on the screen and you may start speaking. And thank you for being here today. Thank you so much.
I'll just read it off. This is 2nd Canto, Chapter 7, text number 4. Is that right?
Yes, Maharaj.
Atrer apacham abhikankshata ahatushto dato mayaham iti yad bhagavan sadatta yad pada pankaja paraga pavitra deha yoga yogardim apur ubayam yadu hayayadya. Another tongue twister. Atrer apacham abhikankshata ahatushto dato mayaham iti yad bhagavan sadatta yad pada pankaja paraga pavitra deha yogardim apur ubayam yadu hayayadya. Anyone else want to go for it?
Atre apatyam abhikankshata ahatushto dato mayaham iti yat bhagavan sadataha yat pada pankaja paraga pavitra deha yogaridim apur ubayim yadu hayadyaha.
Okay. Word for word. Atre
Atre
of the sage Atri.
of the sage Atre.
Apatyam
Apatyam
issue.
issue.
Abhikankshata
Abhikankshata
having prayed for.
having prayed for.
Aha.
Aha
It is said it.
said it.
Tushta
Tushta
being satisfied.
being satisfied.
Data
Data
given over.
given over.
Maya
Maya
by me.
by me.
Aham
Aham
myself.
myself.
Iti
Ete
thus.
thus.
Yat
Yat
because.
because.
Bhagavan
Bhagavan
personality of Godhead.
personality of Godhead.
Sa
Sa
he
he
data
Data
datatreya.
Datatreya.
Yatpada
Yatpada
one whose feet.
one whose feet.
Pankaja
Pankaja
lotus.
lotus.
Paraga
Paraga
dust.
dust.
Pavitra
Pavitra
purified.
purified.
Deha
Deha
body.
body.
Yoga
Yoga
mystic.
mystic.
Redim
Redeem
opulence.
opulence.
Apu
Apu
God.
God.
Ubahim
Obaim
for both the worlds.
for both worlds.
Yadu
Yadu
the father of the Yadu dynasty.
the father of the Yadu dynasty.
Hayaya Adya
Ahaya Adya
and others like King Hayai.
and others like Ken Hai.
Translation. The great sage Atri prayed for offspring, and the Lord, being satisfied him, promised to incarnate as Atri's son, Dattatreya, Datta, the son of Atri. And by the grace of the lotus feet of the Lord, many Yadus, Hayayas, etc., became so purified that they obtained both material and spiritual blessing. Purport. Transcendental relations between the personality of Godhead and the living entities are eternally established in 5 different affectionate humors, which are known as Shanta, Dasya, Sakya, Vatsalya, and Madhurya. The sage Atri was related with the Lord in an affectionate Vatsalya humor, and therefore, as a result of his devotional perfection, he was inclined to have the personality of Godhead as son. The Lord accepted his prayer, and he gave himself as the son of Atri. Such a relation of sonhood between the Lord and his pure devotees can be cited in many instances. And because the Lord is unlimited, he has an unlimited number of father devotees. Factually, the Lord is the father of all living entities, but out of transcendental affection and love between the Lord and his devotees, the Lord takes more pleasure in becoming the son of a devotee than in becoming one's father. The father actually serves the son, whereas the son only demands all sorts of services from the father. Therefore, a pure devotee who is always inclined to serve the Lord wants him as a son, not as a father. The Lord also accepts such service from the devotee, and thus the devotee becomes more than the Lord. The impersonalists desire to become one with the Supreme, but the devotees become more than the Lord, surpassing the desire of the greatest monas. Parents and other relatives of the Lord achieve all mystic opulences automatically because of their intimate relationship with the Lord. Such opulences include all details of material enjoyment, salvation, and mystic powers. Therefore, the devotee of the Lord does not seek them separately, wasting his valuable time in life. The valuable time of one's life must therefore be fully engaged in transcendental loving service of the Lord. Then other desirable achievements are automatically gained. But even after obtaining such achievements, one should be on guard against the pitfall of offenses at the feet of the devotees. The vivid example is Haya, who achieved all such perfection in devotional service, but because of his offense at the feet of a devotee, was killed by Lord Parshuram. The Lord became the son of the great sage Atri and became known as Dattatreya. Om Jnana Timirandasya Gananjana Shalakaya Chaksur Militanyena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Shri Mate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharane Nirvisesha Sunyavari Paschacha Desatarani Vansha Kalpa Tarubhyas Cha Kripa Sindhubhya Eva Cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnave Bhyo Namaha. Namo Mahabharanaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namani Gora Tushe Namaha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchan Gorange Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishabhanu Suti Devi Pranamami Hari Priye. Mukam Karoti Vachalam Bangam Langaya Tegrim Tat Kripa Tamaham Bande Shri Guru Dina Dharani. Oh, it's interesting that since we're in the Damodar month, which is very much about especially Mother Yasoda, the mother of Krishna, and the intense devotion that entails and how that's such an advanced position. And then today is Govardhan Puja, where there's a very much about Krishna's relationship with his father, and how Krishna actually becomes his son. He's always the Supreme Lord, but he doesn't act like it. And the Brijvasis are the people that have him as their son. They don't think I have the Supreme Lord as my son now. I'm all powerful and I can conquer the world because my son is so powerful. They're thinking they have to protect him. So that's something that I don't know if any other religious line has. They have the idea of God as the Father, the Creator, the all-powerful, but Krishna more enjoys when the devotee takes a superior position, but it's not a lording it over position. Parenthood is love, caring. So it's very interesting. So just what to say. So we have the Damodar to come where Krishna is afraid of his mother's little stick. And his mother had never hit him and never would think of hitting him, but she was worried, so she was trying to catch him. Even when she tied him up, it wasn't punishment in the, you know, like we would think. It would, and often that even people have their dog, they tie him up as to protect him or to keep him home. She was afraid that Krishna was upset and he would run off into the forest, which was a dangerous place. So that's why she wanted to tie him to protect him, keep him safe. But Krishna, you know, acting as a child, he got mad. But then what he did was drag that heavy wooden thing and break those trees, which liberated Nalakavar and Manigriva, which is another quite amazing thing. And that shows Krishna's relationship in another way with Narada Muni, also a great devotee. Because Narada Muni had so-called cursed them, but it was really a blessing that they would have to stand as trees to learn their lesson, but they would witness Krishna's, you know, childhood, babyhood, pastime. And then when Krishna liberated them, he told them, I wouldn't have anything to do with people like you. They were sinful. They even ignored Narada Muni. But he said, because Narada requested me, that's why he liberated them. So I always think of the same thing like Prabhupada. All of us, at least myself and most devotees I know that would admit it, we certainly had no qualification of, you know, tremendous accumulation of pious activities or anything to get the mercy of Lord Chaitanya. But because Prabhupada requested right when, you know, right from the start, but especially when that poem he wrote when he first was in America and he got back on the boat. And he said, you know, Krishna, I have no qualification, but please use me. I know these people can be saved if they hear the message of the Bhagavatam. So it's like that. So we have many incidences of this motherly love, fatherly love between Lord Chaitanya, especially between Krishna and his father and mother. Other incarnations, sometimes there's no father and mother, the early ones, but there's very intimate relationships with Lord Ramachandra and his father and his mother and the other mothers. and motherly son relationships. Some went wrong, like Kaikeyi thinking to give her son to become the king, but her son didn't want it, and he rejected his mother. So she suffered because they were parents. Dasarat died feeling separation from Ramachandra, but that was a benediction also to feeling separation. We have many instances of devotees dying, feeling intense separation from other devotees. Narottam Das Thakur, at the end of his life, he was mostly writing songs of feeling intense separation from other devotees. Sita was separated from Ram. So people think that's cruel because they don't understand the higher feelings. So intellectuals nowadays in India that condemn Ram. Somebody made a movie, Sita Sings the Blues, that she was mistreated by Ram, but it was actually a benediction to increase both of them intense in love, feeling separation from each other. And Sita left her body feeling that. So that's the topmost thing. Raghunath Das Goswami was the oldest Goswami. And then Raghunath Bhatta Goswami, on one disappearance day of Raghunath, he also left his body on the same day, years later. And then Krishnadas Kaviraj, again, feeling separation from both of them, left his body, again, many years later. So all these things are there. So we don't know too much about the Dattatreya. He had, I think, 3 heads. He was... anyway, was he... He was an incarnation, but there's not too much about it. I think he taught a few people. The Hayaya kingdom is mentioned here, Hayaya king. It was a kingdom run by the Yadava kings in Western India. Kartavira Arjuna was the leader of the Hayaya. He defeated Ravana. And Parshuram ended that kingdom by killing the Hayayas off. Because he killed off all the Kshatriyas. So because they weren't following a dharma. So all these things are good lessons for us. But just today, we especially should think about the Govardhan Lila. I heard an amazing class this morning in Bombay. One of these, really scholarly devotees. So much details about Govardhan Hill. First, Govardhan is a person. The Govardhan is called Haridas Savarya, the greatest devotee, but he is also Krishna. Something like Lord Chaitanya, he's a devotee, he's Krishna himself, but he's a devotee. And Govardhan is extremely merciful. So people go there and circumambulate Govardhan, and with all kinds of, some with completely spiritual desires, some with very material desires, but he benedicts everyone. But at the time of Krishna, Govardhan was much bigger. This boy said 3 kilometers tall. It's more than Mount Everest. He said the top was touching the clouds. Now Govardhan is not very tall. And they say that he was cursed by the sage that was carrying him, and then he wouldn't move any further. That he would sink one mustard seed or something every day. But that's not the reason. No sage can curse Govardhan, but he's out of separation from Krishna. Govardhan just shrank, or shrunk. Who's the English major there? Shrunk, right? Shrink, shrank, shrunk, think, thank, thunk, drink, drank, drunk. Crazy language. So he's shrinking. Jamuna is shrinking, the Ganga is shrinking, everything is shrinking. It's Kali Yuga, but especially those things. It said that the gopis, after Krishna left Vrindavan, they were thinking of suicide, but they couldn't. Govardhan wasn't big enough to jump off the mountain anymore. And there wasn't enough water left in the Jamuna to drown themselves, because everything dried up and shrunk because of separation from Krishna. All these loving relationships. So in Braj, all the adults had this parental affection for Krishna. Everybody wanted Krishna as their child. So Krishna even arranged that 1 year after the Aghasura that he became the child. They didn't know. They thought it was their child, but somehow they loved him so much more than normally. And they had great love for their children. They were not, they were. If you've ever lived in Vrindavan for a while, the Brijvasis, they're super attached. They love their children. But they loved them even more because it was Krishna. Where Nityananda lived, in his village, everyone loved Nitai, Nitai, everyone. And when he was leaving that sannyasi, people were saying, take my son, but don't take Nitai. Please don't take him away. But Nitai didn't even turn his back to look back and say goodbye. He just left. So that increased everybody's loving affection also. And his father just stood there like for, I don't know, a few weeks or a few months. He never ate or slept or drank or anything, and nobody could understand. He was just looking in the distance. He watched when Nitai walked away until he couldn't see him anymore. And then he just kind of like became like a statue. And then he came back to activity. So that is something of parental love. So it's a very high, parental love is a very, very high thing. As a mother, Yasoda's love for Krishna is, as far as intensity goes, is very similar to Radharani. It's a different rasa though, but motherly love. But we all know if you're mothers, you know how much love you have for your children. If you're a child, sometimes how much love our mother has, it becomes quite frustrating. Even for Krishna, Mother Yasoda wanted to protect him too much, and he was a boy, he didn't like that so much. Mother Yasoda wanted to make shoes for him because he would go barefoot when he took the cows out in the forest. And the forest had a lot of thorns and stones, and she was worried about his feet. And Krishna is saying, no, I can't, I don't want to wear shoes. So there's a quite big exchange of love. And Krishna said, the cows don't have shoes, so I can't have shoes either. If you can make shoes for all the cows, then I'll wear shoes. So then Mother Yasoda was defeated. She couldn't do that. But so we can't imitate, but we can admire, and possibly gradually we develop a similar type of rasas. If we just especially admire certain devotees that have these different relationships. So different people are, there's one of our poets, I think he said, he worships Nanda Maharaj because the Supreme Personality of Godhead is playing in his courtyard as a child, and such exalted personalities that in the coming Nanda and Yasoda, the same Sachimata and Jagannath Mishra, they come from the spiritual world, and they're in they're always their rasa, to be the eternal mother of Krishna. Vasudeva and Devaki had another, first place they had so much anxiety with other children being killed, but then Krishna came and immediately they had to take him away. I think, maybe Devaki held the baby Krishna for a few minutes. And then Krishna ordered them, take me to, to Gokula. So they didn't enjoy the motherly, they only felt separation until Krishna came back and killed Kamsa, and then he was like 16 years old. And then for a very short time, and then he went to the Gurukul. And then he came back, and by that time he was a king, and so they had some association in Dwarka that they were there, but they never had that, the intensity of motherly love where they took care of the baby and fed him and clothed him and washed him and worried about it. But Mother Yasoda, people think, well, I want peace of mind, but devotees don't get peace of mind. We get more anxiety. Mother Yasoda was always in anxiety to protect Krishna and feed Krishna. Even when he was holding up Govardhan Hill, she was so worried, she wanted him to eat. But Krishna had arranged that nobody got hungry or thirsty, even though there was everything they needed. They didn't feel any inconvenience whatsoever. And and the gopis, they were in ecstasy because they could stand right next to Krishna and see him 24 hours a day. They were unhappy when it was all over because then again, Krishna goes gone every day, and all day they couldn't see him. And the cowherd men, they thought Krishna's our little boy, he can't hold up the hill. And they were all putting their sticks and thinking that they were holding up the hill. So when Krishna told everyone to go out, they said, no, Krishna, you go first, because they were afraid that he couldn't hold up the hill. And Krishna lowered his hand a little bit, and then it pushed down all their sticks. Then they understood, and then they went out. And then Krishna just put the hill down and came out. Said he entered through a cave, so I guess he came out through a cave also. At that time, Govardhan had very big caves and waterfalls and lakes, and was lush with grass for the cows. And it's still to some extent like that now. There's a lot of caves, but they're not very big. And the caves at Krishna's time were really wonderful places. Krishna and his friends would go in there and enjoy, all day long. But so we should try to meditate. We can by hearing about these pastimes. How can the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Kunti prayed, whose fear personified is afraid of Krishna, but Krishna is afraid of his mother's little stick, and crying and rubbing his eyes and saying, don't hit me, don't hit me. But she never had any intention to hit him. But when she saw he was afraid, she threw away the stick. And then when Krishna, of course, he was very small, he couldn't really run, but Mother Yasoda was not a young girl. had very wide hips, and she couldn't run very fast either. But when Krishna saw how much love she had and how she was so determined to catch him and protect him, then he let her catch him. But then when she tried to tie him up, the rope was always too short, 2 fingers. And she got more and more rope, and from her house, and cowherd villages, a lot of rope. They make the beds out of rope. They tie up cows with rope. There's rope everywhere. And Krishna was, 2 or 3 years old, but he couldn't get enough rope to go around his belly. But then when Krishna saw she's so exhausted and she's so frustrated, and all the other women were laughing at her and saying, Yasoda, you shouldn't try to tie up Krishna. The guy is something different than everyone else. Then Krishna took pity and she could tie him up. But then he went on to do the next thing. So after they came and the trees were broken, and none of the men saw Nalakavara and Nanagriva, some of Krishna's friends did, and they were describing it, and they were a little bewildered, how this could happen, and not quite sure if it what really happened, but they could see that the trees were broken, and Krishna was just sitting there between them, so they understood something. So then Nanda said, Krishna, let's go home to your mother. And Krishna said, no, I don't want to see my mother ever again. She tied me up and I'm angry. I don't want to go home. So Nanda was trying to, negotiate with Krishna. And Krishna was saying, no, my mother tied me up. She tried to punish me. I don't like it. And I don't want to go to see her. So then Nanda said, being very clever, he's a king. He said, okay, I'll punish her. I'll go and slap her. And then Krishna said, no, don't hit my mother. No. So these are relationships that are very charming, almost most charming. And we're very fortunate to have access to the Srimad Bhagavatam and all these kind of things. And whatever this information is, I was just going to look at the purport again. I don't get any information of Hayaya exactly what offense he made at the feet of a devotee, but he was just a Kshatriya that they were not behaving properly. So Parashram just annihilated all the Kshatriyas. So that very big dynasty that Kartavir Arjuna was so powerful that he defeated Ravana, tied him up like a monkey, put him in the jail, just, really humiliated him. But Parashuram, by himself, killed Kartavir Arjuna and all his army. That's Krishna. Parashuram was also an incarnation. He also had a relationship with his father. His father was a great, powerful Brahmana. But back, previous generation, I think the mother's side was a curse that her son would become a Kshatriya. And there was a Brahmin family, so she cried, and they said, okay, the grandson. So he was born in a Brahmin family, but he had Kshatriya nature. So when Kartavir Arjuna stole his father's Sarabi cow, wish-fulfilling cow, Parashuram, went to get the cow back. And he killed the whole dynasty, and he killed everybody and came back with the cow. Then his father chastised him. His father said, we're Brahmanas and you should forgive. And he gives a whole talk, it's a very important section of the Bhagavatam about forgiveness. This is the Kshatriya's power is in his arms, Vaishya's in his money, and the Sudra's in his service, and the Brahmana's power is in forgiveness. He said Lord Brahma got his post because of forgiveness, and he gives so many examples. So he chastised Parashuram for getting angry and killing his misbehaving Kshatriyas. So it's all very inconceivable. Later, the mother of Parashuram in her mind made some offense. She kind of admired some man or something. And the father got very angry. And he told Parashuram, you kill your mother and the other brothers. And Parashuram, knowing the nature of his father, knowing the power of his father, he did it. He just took his axe or whatever weapon. Paras is an axe, the battle axe, like we see the Vikings had or something. And he killed him. Then his father was very pleased with him. And Parashuram knew the nature of his father. Father said, okay, you can have any wish you want. So he said, bring them all back to life and they won't remember what happened. So the father did that. So that's an interesting father and son relationship. I don't recommend trying that anybody, but these were not ordinary people. These are previous ages. These are incarnations and extremely powerful, brahmanas. We don't have brahmanas like that anymore. Kali Yuga brahmanas are mostly just corrupt businessmen. But there are good ones. But they're not powerful like that. Because Shringi misused his power and cursed Parikshit. So let's, if you're a parent, you can meditate on not that you should think my child is Krishna, but you should treat your child like you would treat Krishna. Try to understand it as a special gift from Krishna. And meditate on the past, on Nanda and Yasoda, or Sachimata and Jagannath Mishra. Jagannath Mishra is also Nanda Maharaj, and he was told you shouldn't chastise your son, he's something very special, and he said, no, I have to, it's my duty, I'm his father. I have to chastise him, I have to teach him. His mother would chastise, especially Lord Chaitanya, he was very naughty, and his mother would, chastise. They had very intimate relationships. When Lord Chaitanya was eating dirt as a baby, like Krishna also ate dirt, that was a whole other thing. He showed his mother, he said, no, I never ate dirt. And he showed, and when she looked in his mouth, she saw the whole universe, including herself. And then she just said, no, this must be hallucination. This is my baby. It's not possible. When Lord Chaitanya was eating dirt, his mother, he said, yes, I ate dirt. What's wrong with eating dirt? You feed me dirt anyway. The vegetables grow out of the ground. The rice grows out of the ground. It's just dirt. So what's wrong with eating dirt? And then his mother explained to him that everything is different. And even dirt itself, if you just take a lump of dirt and you pour water, you just get some mud. But if you make a clay pot, you mold the mud in a certain way and dry it out and do whatever they do to make a clay pot, then you can keep the water in it. It's different. So the transformed dirt, the vegetables and the rice, that's the way you eat it. It's not all the same. And then so this was defeating Mayavadi philosophy that everything's all the same. Then Lord Chaitanya said, my mother, I never knew you were such a great philosopher, and I'll never eat dirt again. So there's very amazing, relationships, but like all parents have with their children. But with Krishna, of course, much more intense, especially for Yasoda, who had a child who would kill things like Putana and Trinavarta, but she'd never believe it. They didn't actually witness Krishna killing, and then they would think he was saved by Vishnu because we're worshiping Vishnu to protect our child. The coward boys would come home at night and tell their parents how Krishna killed this demon and that demon. And they were never sure if the kids were just talking or what. But then finally after Govardhan Hill, then they realized, they started remembering all the different things. They actually saw Krishna lift up the Govardhan Hill, and the whole of Braj, hundreds of, there were millions of cows and millions of people, and everybody came under. Govardhan just got big enough to protect everybody. The same way the Sankirtan movement is expanding unlimitedly, and it's protecting all of us. We just have to take shelter and to have faith. All right, so Hare Krishna, motherly love, very wonderful thing. I can't say that I understand it very much, but we there's so much poetry about it, and so much experience, and how people feel. And I don't know if you've all heard the news. You can pray for Gaur Gopal Prabhu, his wife, who had left him with the children. She's living in London. Somebody broke in the house and killed her. So now the British government wants him to take the children. So it's going to be very traumatized children. I think I don't know if they witnessed the attack, but they found her dying, and they saw her die. So it's very traumatic for the children, and then for him also. So can pray. It's a crazy, insane world. Devotees in Israel, there's war. I just talked to him, and they said there's only been one siren about going in the bomb shelter in the last 3 days, so everything is more peaceful. But still everything is tense, because these attacks are coming, different kind of attacks, not missiles now. It's just groups of people that come attacking and just go in the village and kill people, and then run away. So we're pretty good, and the only way to help the world is, Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Kevalam, Kaluna, Stevana, Gatiranyata. And to spread this, to absorb ourselves in the Srimad Bhagavatam, read it regularly, relish it, just read it, because it's like medicine, it's like food. You don't understand it, but it'll work. Don't try to understand it. If you think, I can't eat because I don't understand how the digestion works and how it can be transformed into bones and blood and marrow and flesh.
I don't know, no comment.
I can't eat. No. So some people think, I tried to read the Bhagavatam, but I couldn't understand it, so I stopped. No, just keep reading, because you'll get the nourishment, spiritual nourishment. So if you have any comments or questions, you're welcome.
Hare Krishna, thank you so much, Maharaj. Jana Chakshu Prabhu has been able to bring in some of his followers. And so it's a blessing that some of them have been able to be here.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Have your darshan.
I wasn't looking at the Zoom, I was looking at the Bhagavatam.
Yeah.
Well, welcome everybody. That's a worldwide group, right?
Yes.
Living all over the world. Divya Singha Devi Dasi. Good name. All right, so do we have any inquiries?
So, dear devotees, if anyone may have a question, please, you may do that. And we encourage you to be very brief because Maharaj doesn't have enough time to spend with us today. And we wouldn't want to keep him here for too
I
long.
have time, I'm kind of wide awake.
Okay. We try to be conscious of Maharaj's time. It's almost 11 o'clock his time. So 11 p.m.
Yeah, when it gets this late,
Yeah.
then it doesn't matter anymore.
So, Maharaj, lots of the audience came in halfway when you were discussing how Krishna loves to be treated as a son. To most people, this concept is not very much known or familiar. So if you may shed some light as to how the Supreme Lord may sometimes appear as a son to his own devotees.
Well, I just gave many examples, but Krishna likes, to, he actually likes that better than being in the all-powerful position. Like most people, it's good. You know God and you know he's all-powerful and he's the Father. But generally the Father, of course, not always. A good son, when the parents get old, they'll take care of them and they'll be more like parents, and the old father will be like a son. And that's actually relishable also. In Krishna's case, he'll actually become a baby sometimes. Apparently take birth, although he just appears. His appearance is not like our appearance, coming out, and crying and helpless. He was all powerful, even as a baby. But he relishes that loving exchange and letting the devotee take care of him. The devotee has a higher consciousness that they want to serve Krishna. They don't want to be served, Like mostly we pray to God, give me something. Help me, whatever. People ask for many different things. But Krishna likes very much when someone, and he will take that role to facilitate a devotee wanting to care for him and take care of him. Not that the devotee feels I am superior, but he just feels like this is my baby. This is my son. I have to teach him. It's inconceivable, but that's Krishna. So that's why we say we have higher knowledge that not every other scripture has. There may be some hint of it somewhere here and there, but I haven't heard of it. But not that we become puffed up and think everybody else is inferior. There's many different rasas with Krishna. So there's neutrality, there's servitor, we're just serving Krishna, where he's a superior. But in the parental, everything is there also. Service is there, friendship is there, everything is included in parental, except for conjugal. But, so therefore, it's just Krishna loves it and devotees love it. Is that all right? I mean, that's the idea. And that's why I just told many different, a few different incidences where Krishna becomes a child and different kinds of relationships and different, because if he's a Kshatriya child or he's a cowherd boy child or he's different.
Thank you so much, Maharaj. If anyone else has something to share, Jana Chakshu Prabhu, if you're there, can you unmute to say something since your friends and followers are here?
Jnana Chakshu.
Sahib Prabhu Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranams. Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisance.
Jnana Chakshush, Jnana means knowledge and Chakshush means to see. Means to see through knowledge.
Yes, Guru Maharaj. My humble obeisance, Guru Maharaj.
Thank you.
Sahib Prabhu, please come again. You were saying something. I was on the phone, so I didn't hear you well.
No. I was saying that if you may unmute to say a word, because since Maharaj is here and your friends and followers are here.
Okay, Guru Maharaj. So most of them are doing the Karatik, and this is about the 5th year or 6th year that they are doing. Most of them, all of them, they are fasting. Some are doing on grains, some are doing once a day, some are doing fruits and all that. And daily, I post a chapter of the Bhagavad Gita to our main platform, so all of them have access to listen to the Bhagavad Gita. So today is the 18th day of the Kartik, and we are done with the whole Bhagavad Gita up to chapter 18. From tomorrow, I'll start posting introduction, and then I'll give a brief explanation about the introduction. The following day, we go to chapter 1, like that. So we get to the last one, chapter 18. So most of them are fasting, and they're in a very good mood because we explain a lot about the importance of the Kartik, and they do really appreciate it. Guru Maharaj.
Wow. Well, that's amazing.
Yes, Guru Maharaj.
While they're hearing Bhagavad Gita, that's wonderful.
Yes, daily. Every day we post one chapter. So we are done. Today is the 18th day of the Kartik Brata. So we are done with the chapter 18.
You post the whole chapter?
We post a whole chapter, the audio.
Yeah, the audio, the reading.
Yeah. Have you seen this new app they have for the phones now? It's called Transcend.
No, Guru Maharaj.
Yeah, it's called, if you go transcendstore.com.
Okay.
It has something like 90 audiobooks. And
wow.
There's all the books and all kinds of different ways you can study them, and you can make flashcards. It has the ebook.
Okay, Maharaj.
Almost every book that BBT ever did, it has the ebook and the audio book, and I don't know what else. So many different tricky ways, but it costs $100 or something.
Oh, okay. I'll go for a good Maharaj.
Transcendstore.com.
Transcendstore.com. Okay.
Finally, just downloaded it, but I didn't even open it up yet. But you know, it has all the Bhagavatam, all the Chaitanya Charitamrita audio book.
Okay, good Maharaj. Thank you very much. I will go for it.
It's on Android and iOS.
Okay, good Maharaj.
So anyway, there's, you know, Krishna's trying to help us to make it easy for us to have access. But it's great how you do get a group of people doing that, you know. It's amazing. And fasting. The Africans said they like that idea of fasting. That's good. Most devotees don't do any, I know, fasting for Kartik. Try to chant more, go to Vrindavan, things like that. But...
So, Maharaj, there is a quick and straightforward question in the chat room. One devotee is asking, So who is a devotee when we say someone is a devotee?
Well, there's different levels. Anyone, one time when Lord Chaitanya was asked, he said, anyone who's chanted Hare Krishna even once is a devotee. Krishna sees everyone as a devotee. Everyone is actually a devotee, but most of us were not aware of it. But then Lord Chaitanya was asked the next year by the same people, and he gave him more, more different qualifications, and the next year more. But because of different levels, but actually everyone is a devotee, but most of common man have forgotten. That's why we try to preach and wake them up. They're sleeping and they don't know who they are. They're bewildered. So we're just trying to wake them up and say, you're a devotee. Wake up. But generally, when we say it means someone who's practicing to some extent, worshiping Krishna in some way, chanting the name of God or hearing about God, and not necessarily Krishna, but some religious people that are dedicated to God, they have regular prayer or regular something, they're some kind of devotees. But we're talking about devotees of God, not many people are devoted to their wife or their dog or their company or their country. That's different. When we say devotee, we mean someone who's trying to serve the Supreme Lord.
Thank you, Maharaj, for the answer. I hope the questioner is satisfied with the answer and is clear to him. Anyone else?
Gyanachakshus is a devotee, or you could say any of these people on the board here, they're devotees.
Mm-hmm.
Reinhard Owell is a devotee, or Moses, whatever it is. They're all devotees. Otherwise, he wouldn't be here.
Well, Maharaj, the questioner is very much satisfied with the answer. He says, Hare Krishna, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Anyone else with something to say before Maharaj leaves?
Before you all leave. I'm in Mayapur now, and tomorrow we start a parikrama around Mayapur to all the holy places of Lord Chaitanya's pastimes. I'll see if they're going to broadcast it live, then I'll give you the link. I don't know.
Yeah, we'll be looking forward to that, Maharaj.
Probably they will, because Jayapataka Maharaj will be speaking sometime.
Okay.
The miracle man.
He is a miracle man indeed. Maharaj, there is a follow-up question from the previous question, and he's trying to find out if a Christian can also be a devotee of Krishna.
Well, yes, of course. A real Christian is a devotee of Krishna, because Krishna is the name of the Supreme Lord. So if someone's a Christian, they're worshiping God, and Jesus taught love God, so they're devotees of Krishna. They may have a different name, but it's Krishna. And some people are Christian and they stay Christian, but they actually worship Krishna. They chant Hare Krishna also.
Thank you.
I have a disciple in Enugu, one Maharaji. She's a nun in the Catholic. She lives in the what do they call it? The nunnery but she chants her japa, and then she carries out all her duties as a Christian nun also. And there's others like that around different parts of the world. Priests or pastors. They chant Hare Krishna, they read Bhagavad Gita. A lot of Buddhist monks, they read Bhagavad Gita, they worship Krishna also. And the word Christ, linguistically comes from Krishna. People that study languages. It's Krishna and became Christos in Greek or something, and gradually Christ.
Yes.
Jesus of the Christ. Okay.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else? So nice to see so many. Even
Okay.
if we haven't-
Maharaj, there is a couple questions in the chat room. One says, please, I want to ask if it's necessary to pray when going to sleep, when we wake up, and when we're eating, or just meditation is okay. Because I used to pray a lot, but now I just meditate. So I want to know if that is okay. So
What do you meditate on?
a question is, can she pray while she's going to sleep? Can she pray when she wakes
It's a
up?
good idea to pray,
Mm.
because then we'll think of Krishna, hopefully we'll remember. And we should be praying, thank you, God, thank you. Thank you. That's the best prayer. Not praying, okay, today, please help me tomorrow to make more money or something. That's not prayer. I don't know, when you say meditation, what do you mean by meditation? I ask some people, what do you meditate? Oh, I just think about, what my job, or I just think about how my knees hurt or something. That's not meditation. Meditation really means to think of Krishna in the heart. But yes, prayer is good, always good.
Right.
And that Maha Mantra is a prayer, My dear Lord, please engage me in your service. That's the highest prayer. Let me serve. What can I do for you? Please guide me.
Maharaj, thank you. Oh, well, thank you for the answer. And the lady who asked the question, Miss Benedicta, says thank you to the answer. There is one other devotee who is asking, please, is it possible to see God? Because she hears from some pastors that they see God. And she wants to find out if it is true that such people see God, and if it's possible for one to see God.
It's possible, but it's up to Krishna if he's going to reveal himself or not. You could ask him, if you see him, what does he look like? But they can see that. It's like you can't see the wind, right? But you can know there is wind because you can see the trees moving or something, or the dust blowing around, but you don't actually see the wind. So we can see God in that way. Bhagavad Gita says, how is it? I am the taste and water, I am the light and the sun and the moon, all these things. In this way, you're seeing God all the time. But it's not directly seeing the person God, but seeing God, knowing that God is at work. That is another thing. And I think there are Christians, there are Muslims, there are people who at least have that much understanding. I don't know if they're actually seeing the personality of Godhead, like Moses did. So I wouldn't want to say that this particular pastor's lying because I don't know what he's seeing, what he means. You'd have to ask him.
Thank you so much, Maharaj.
Well, no, there was
Anyone else?
Okay, thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Shivaraharacharya Prabhu. Yes, please.
Dandava Pranam Maharaj. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. All glories to your holiness. Well, it's just in regard to the last question. In regard to the last question about whether we can see God. There is this passage in Srimad second.
You're breaking up, Prabhuji.
Yeah, I think that is second canto, chapter 9, text. It's one of those early texts of that volume. Text, maybe text. I can't get it exactly, but chapter 9, second canto. Many places there, the Lord mentioned that the highest benediction is to see Him, and I think He says something else also similar to that. Kusha, I cannot recollect, but I mean, it's very. It's I can't say it's shocking, but often we think that we cannot see God, but God is telling Brahma here that the highest benediction is to see Him.
Yeah, you can see him. If he wants to, he can show himself.
Okay.
When Krishna was on earth, everyone could see him, but not everyone could understand who he was.
Well, it's text 21, text 21. Srimad second canto, chapter 9, text 21.
Okay. Let me see if I can pull it up. It says, I wish you good luck, O Brahma. You may ask from me, the giver of all benediction, all that you may desire. You may know that the ultimate benediction, as the result of all penances, is to see me by realization. Yes.
Yeah. So, like the prayer in the Dhammadarastakam, he said, that's all I want to do. I don't want any other benediction. I just want to see the face of Krishna, baby Krishna. That's the topmost thing, but it's not cheap, because we can see Krishna. You can hear the holy name is Krishna. You can see with your ears. Mainly God is seen through the ears, through hearing. And even a Buddhist, there's one Buddha called Avalokiteshvara Buddha. And that means seeing with your ears. But they make paintings of Krishna so you can actually see. But like I said, when Krishna was present, everyone could see, but people saw him in many different ways. They didn't see him as the supreme God, but they saw him. But you can't demand, okay, God, I want to see you right now. Let me in. Just like you can't go to the president of your country and just walk into the office. You have to qualify yourself.
Thank you so much, Maharaj. There
So
is
that's what the verse says is the ultimate goal of all the tapasya and everything. That's what we want. So that's what we're working for. So that's why Krishna appears as if deity and different things, so we can actually see him, because we can't see the spiritual form with our eyes until we get purified, and he can give us the spiritual eyes.
Thank you, Maharaj. There is this question says, can we actually do something to please Krishna to go to heaven?
If you want. But devotees don't want, well, heaven is a different understanding. In the Vedas, heaven are just higher planets. In the Christian, heaven means the kingdom of God, which is more beyond what we would call heaven. But the highest thing is you just want to serve God. You don't care where you are. But if you please Krishna, you're definitely going to get better life in this life and the next.
Thank you, Maharaj. All right, so it's past 11 p.m. Maharaj time.
Okay, thank you very much.
I think we may.
If there's any way to make the font bigger in the chat. It's so very hard to read.
Yeah. So we thank you all, and we're going to humbly request you all to kindly unmute yourselves, and we all chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra to express our appreciation to Maharaj in here and guiding us.
Thank you.
Die. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Krishna
Krishna
Hare Hare.
Krishna, Hare Hare,
Thank you.
Hare
Hare
Rama, Hare Rama.
Rama Rama,
Hare
Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna
Chakrapatarubhya, Sarvasya, Patitanam
Vaishnavebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha.
Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai.
Jai.
Bye.
Jai.
Prabhupada ki
Hare
Thank you.
All glory to His Holiness Kavicandra Swami Maharaj ki